A divided nation. Two sides split the country. On one side, victory. On the other, frustration. A lot has happened this election season. A lot that will not only change your hometown of Parker, not just Colorado, and not the nation, but the entire world. Today, we will break down this year's election and how these issues will affect you. I am Avery Martinez, and this is Newsflash. Looking at the town of Parker elections, Mayor Mike Wade stays in office with a big win over Cheryl Poach. He won 65.21% of the votes to stay in office. His running mates were also able to stay in office. Josh Rivero and Debbie Lewis were able to take an easier win than their running mate, John Dyack, just beating Terry Dodd by 880 votes. For the town of Parker, we could see some changes. The town council promised to help daytime economy in Parker. However, we won't see many changes in the parking situation down on Main Street. However, we will likely see more businesses and apartments coming to Parker with new zoning regulations. Before this year's election, CBN journalist Matthew McCarthy had the chance to sit down with Mayor Mike Wade and with Cheryl Poach, and Kyle Potts sat down with the elected representative of the 44th District, Kim Ransom. Due to FEC regulations, we were unable to release these videos until after the election. However, both interviews deliver insight on issues that are affecting citizens.
Douglas County especially experienced a lot of this, which also went into the Colorado Supreme Court with problems with vouchers, with kids going to other schools, or other charter and private schools, and receiving money to do so from the school district and the government. So how do we keep the public schools also up to speed? How do we keep them funded? And how do we keep our students well educated in these public schools and try to make that another competition against these private schools?
Douglas County has great schools. As you know, I'm sure if you're about to graduate, you're probably being chased by many colleges that are recruiting. My kids have all graduated from high school, and my goodness, they were all recruited from many colleges, multiple colleges. So I think that the public schools are in good shape. We have a school board, a local school board for our county our school board is actually, our school district is actually all of Douglas County. So we have a fairly large school district, and they are responsible for all of the public schools in the district, in the area. Back to what I said earlier about municipalities, it's also not my role as a state legislator to go tell the school district how they should be determining what they want to do. That being said, I do support the rights of parents to send their children where they want to go to school, where they want their children to be going to school. I do support charter schools, which are public schools anyway. They're funded by public money, as you know. There is a very complicated formula at the state level with the per pupil funding, that we send a lot of money to the state and we get less back than we send, we as a county, we as taxpayers. So your parents and me, people that turn in our property taxes as we're supposed to, more gets sent to the state than comes back to you students. So just I will state that. But I am actually in favor of parental choice to send their kids where they feel is best suited for that child. There are kids that thrive, and obviously more than 90% of students do go to their neighborhood public schools, and I think they get great educations. The kids I meet are well-spoken, they're educated. The ones I know are smart, they did well on their ACTs, they were excited to go off to college, and I know a lot of students, friends of my kids who are all college and above now, who were given great scholarships and have succeeded very well in college. I do think that there is a big place for alternative methods of schooling. I think that parents that homeschool have the right to do that. I think that we want private schools. I think having some competition is actually good. I think it just keeps everybody on their toes. And I think having a variety of options for parents is the best way to get every child educated. One of my very good friends has a daughter that has severe autism, and she goes to a school up in Denver. The schools here they weren't a good fit. They weren't able to even deal with her disabilities. And obviously, I think parents need to be able to look around and do their homework.
Hello? Yeah, I'm just right outside. Okay, yeah, I see you.
Hey!
Hey, what's up?
Oh, what's going on?
How much? You ready for your interview?
Let's do this. Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Seatbelt, check. Whew. Sunglasses,
Check.
check. Beard,
Almost.
almost. All right, I checked for both of us.
All right.
All right, let's roll.
Hey, so how's the campaign going?
You know what? If it was any better, it'd be illegal. It's going well. It's going really well. Good times, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't mind if I play some music, do you?
No, let's do it. School going okay?
Oh, yeah, school's great.
Good.
Oh, this song.
Oh, uh-oh. No. Yeah. Jenny, Jenny, who can I turn to? Bow, 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 bow.
Telling I
Can hold on to. Yeah.
All right.
Number
The others
before.
before.
All right, it's coming up. We all know
Here
it.
we go.
On the wall. Jane, your number. I wanna make you mine. Jane, your number. 8675309.
8675309.
8675309.
8675309.
309. Janet, your number. I wanna make you mine. Daniel James, your number. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. Little headbang with Jenny.
There we go. Got it.
I got it.
Got it.
For a good time call. Wow. Whew.
It's a good song.
That steamed up my glasses even a little bit, man. That Jenny.
You know, I was thinking about like we could make such a good team,
We do.
but with that, like we need code names. Like I don't know if you, as a mayor, like do you have like bodyguards?
You know what? I don't. I was hoping for a body double, but I didn't get one.
No.
No body double.
You don't think Josh could pull off the beard?
Maybe he could pull off the beard, but I've got a few more years of growth in around the midsection, perhaps,
Oh,
than he
okay.
does. But you know, maybe. Yes.
No, so I was like thinking of like code names for
Okay.
us.
We
Like,
could-
a code name.
Yeah.
What would that be?
That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. What do you have in mind? What do you have in mind?
Like you know, something like fruity.
Like fruity.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
Like apple Benorage slice.
apple and orange slice.
Yeah, but like the Benorage.
The Benorage. Oh,
Yeah.
so that's the combination.
Yeah.
Banana orange
You
slice.
see all these like code names like a Golden Eagle.
Golden Eagle.
I mean,
Yes.
To really throw off someone.
Oh, that's true. You know, you
Yeah.
could have I could be like Mountain Man, something
Mountain
like
Man.
that. Mountain Man could work. You know,
Mountain
a little
Man.
bearded brother, something like that. You know, Sasquatch. Squatch.
Sasquatch.
You go squatching.
So just squatching.
Squatching. There's
squatching.
Straight squatching. I like straight
So
squatching.
squatching and apple
Squatching
Benorage
and
slice.
apple Benorage slice.
So you ever like when you're after the election and I mean you win like last election but your buddy in town council win. Is that like an awkward situation when you get back? It's like, hey,
If
buddy.
one wins and one doesn't
Yeah.
win, you know, it could be. But, you know, at the end of the day, just working hard to make sure that the town is a wonderful place, even if you're not in office, even if you don't win the election. We all still have that obligation to make our community great, do something to make our community better. So there's lots of ways to still volunteer.
What's your favorite part about Parker? I've always wondered like about the mayor. What's his favorite part?
Favorite part about Parker is knowing that I'm helping to create a community that future generations will be proud to call home. A safe, vibrant, exciting community that has everything someone would want in their hometown, whether they've lived here for a year or lived here for 50 years, a place that they're proud to be. His mom has got it going on. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Yes, she does. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Stacy, can I come over after school? After school, we can hang around by the pool. By the pool. Stacy's mom has got it going on. She's all I want, and I've waited so long. Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom.
Kid's kind of a creep.
Yeah, oh, lawn, looking at his mom. Which is the now on. I hope it was warm. Stacy's mom has got it going on. She's all I want, and I've waited so long. Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom.
You know, for any girl named Stacy, that's like the worst.
Exactly. What are you going
So
to do?
ever happened
What are you
to
going to
her.
do? Especially if your phone number is 8675309.
Okay, if you have both of those.
Yes.
I heard that a lady had that number, but she had to change it.
I'm
Because
absolutely sure.
Too many people started calling that number.
I would. I'd be calling up asking for Jenny. And it would be really creepy is if Stacy's mom's name was Jenny.
And she answers the phone.
And she answers the phone.
This is Stacy's mom.
Stacy's mom, well, hey, you know what? I hear you got it going on. And I found your number on a bathroom wall, 8675309.
By the way, I'm like 10 years old.
I'm like 10 years old. Little Joan Jett, baby!
Headbanger.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, now, 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 now. Ow! I love rock and roll. Another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll.
Smoking ticket
Come and dance with me. Ow! I love rock and roll. Another dime in the juice box, baby. I almost said juice box.
Juice box, baby.
Come and dance with me. I love rock and roll. Another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll. Come and take a time and dance with me. Rock and roll. Another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll. Take a time and dance with me. Rock and roll. Time in the juice box, baby. I love rock and roll. Take a time and dance with me. I love rock and roll. Spend a time in the juice box, baby. I love rock and roll. Take a time and dance with me.
Here is Chaparral High School.
Wonderful.
You ready for your interview?
Let's do it. Let's make this happen.
All right. A couple things. Just don't mention Pondo or Legend. and I
Okay.
think
No,
we'll be okay.
no Pandora Legend will be good.
Yeah, I think
Sweet.
we'll be good.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
All right. Banana or orange.
yeah.
Orange, a banana, strawberry.
That's close enough.
Guava, something like that.
Mikhail.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll
All
see
right.
you in there.
Hey,
We'll
I'll
see you
pick
in
you
there.
up. Pick you up 4.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Sounds
See ya.
good.
I'm Matthew McCarthy with CBN Politics, and today I'm here with Mike Wade, who is a candidate for the Parker mayor and is our current Parker mayor. How are you doing today, Mike?
I'm great. How are
Pretty
you
good?
doing? It's nice to
Good.
meet you. Thanks for inviting me.
So first, why don't you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Wonderful. Well, my name is Mike Wade. I've had the honor and privilege of being the mayor of Parker for the last 4 years. Prior to that, I served the citizens of Parker for 4 years as a member of their town council. Prior to that, I was appointed by the Parker Town Council to serve on the Special Licensing Authority, which I did for 5 years, 4 of them being the chairman. I've been a resident of Parker for almost the last 17 years. I am married to a beautiful woman named Pamela, who happens to be a teacher at Sagewood Middle School, and I have 2 incredible sons, Christopher and Matthew, who both attend Ponderosa High School.
Now our first question will be, what do you believe the biggest issue facing Parker is today?
It's a great question. Biggest issue facing Parker today is one of managing how we grow as a community as we grow up. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that currently Parker is only about half built out. According to our urban growth boundary, which is a legal definition of where we can grow into, we are about halfway through the process. So if we think about it, we're kind of in our teenage years right now. So planning is really important to make sure that when we become adults as a community, that we have assets in the correct places. That's where we sit down and plan and use what's called our master plan. It's actually called the 2035 Master Plan. And it really is a guiding document that helps us determine where resources can be devoted best, where homes should be, where businesses should be, where commercial, where industrial, and how to get everybody together should be.
I think my last question will also be, how do you feel about growth in Parker? Do you think it's a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Do we need to encourage growth, or should we slow down growth?
Growth is absolutely a good thing. Think of it this way. A community like Parker is like a human organism. It's like a human. As a human, you are always either in 2 states. You're either in what's called hypertrophy or atrophy. You're either growing or shrinking. It's always the case. There is never a time where as a human body that you're in a point of stasis, except for when you're dead, right? So as a community and as a community leader, I want to always make sure that we're on the point of positive growth rather than shrinking. Because when you shrink, then you have issues of maintaining what you have, maintaining the quality of life, the tax base changes, the infrastructure changes. So it's always better to be on the hypertrophy side of the game rather than the atrophy side of the game. There will never be a point, ever, where any community our size is in stasis unless we become a ghost town. So growth is a good thing. That's what allows us to be able to offer such a high quality of life to our citizens.
Cool. I want to thank you for coming out.
Absolutely, thank you.
And again, I am Matthew McCarthy with CBM Politics.
We surveyed students at Chaparral about how they felt after the election. A lot of these issues we've talked about and we'll talk about soon will affect each student at Chaparral. These surveys do give a good representation of post-election feelings for Chaparral students. We first asked students if they were happy with the outcome of the election. 46% of students voted yes and 54% voted no. We then asked students to rate their knowledge on Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump's policies. The average number was 6.36, a so-so rating that probably could have been better. We asked students where they got their information this year, with the options being social media, parents, government class, and news networks. The top 2 were news networks with 39.1% and government class with 27.3%. We asked what the biggest issue that was impacting the election was. 33% said race as their number 1 answer. Immigration ended second with 28.7%, economy at 22.6%, and foreign policy, the least important issue this election, according to Chaparral students, with 15.7%. We then asked if students felt encouraged or discouraged to vote after this year's election. 78.6% said yes, and 24% voted no. The last question we asked was whether or not students have been taught by an adult on how to respect the other side's opinion. 94.3% said yes, and only 5.7% said no. More to come on Newsflash after these messages. Welcome back to Newsflash. We continue our discussion on the Town of Parker elections. We turn the discussion table to help break down the Parker election, Douglas County issues, and this year in politics. I am joined by political correspondent Grace Lee and political analyst Scott Dassler. Thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
To start the discussion, let's talk about the mayoral candidacy. What was the biggest reason as to why Mike Wade won and won by a large margin? Grace, let's start with you.
Well, first of all, we do live in Douglas County, which is a very conservative county, so that has a lot to do with it since he is conservative. Also, a lot of people are for making Parker grow, and he is definitely for that, so that has a lot to do with it. And then he's a well-known guy, and that does have a lot to do with smaller elections, because if you have a more well-known name, people are more likely to vote for you.
Also, in addition to what Grace has added, I think that Mayor Wade wants to promote small businesses, and that is something people can really get behind. And he wants to grow the town of Parker as a large, growing area.
Let's talk about the implication this year's election has on Parker. Cheryl Poge consistently said that she was against growth in Parker, even stating that Parker needs to implement changes to its master plan and development policies to reduce the impact on our community. Mike Wade was for growth. As we discussed, Wade won by a large margin. What does this mean for the growth of Parker, and are the people ready for this type of change?
I believe that Cheryl Poge, although she had some support of people who were more against growth, keeping Parker a small town, more people wanted growth and change, and Mayor Wade was a more familiar face. He had experience, so I think that's what really put him ahead in this election.
Yeah, I agree, and not only that, but Parker is going to continue to grow. We can see it, when we're driving down the street and there's a bunch of buildings being built, and not only that, but it is going to bring a lot of money into Parker, and I think that'll be good.
Thank you all for this discussion. We will come back to the discussion table about state issues later in the show. Before we head into state issues, we will take a quick commercial break. You're watching Newsflash on CBN.
Ice cream, yogurt, or sorbet. If you love it, we have it at Cold Stone Creamery. There's a treat for every taste, like our new rich and creamy red velvet cheesecake ice cream, our tangy tart cherry yogurt, and our bubbly pink champagne sorbet. Try one today in a creation, and be sure to add your favorite mix-ins. New ice cream, yogurt, and sorbet flavors made fresh in every store. Available for a limited time only at Cold Stone Creamery, the ultimate ice cream experience.
Welcome back to Newsflash. After the election, Douglas County once again remained a solid red county, with over 54% of the county voting in favor of Donald Trump. Even though the majority of chaperone students thought these were unlikable candidates, more students supported Donald Trump according to the school-wide poll. However, many minorities around the county, and even here in Parker, feel threatened by a Trump presidency. Riots and protests have taken place in places like New York, California, and even Colorado. Many minorities are upset with these results, but it's also important to understand what many citizens are feeling and to understand their point of view. Our own Naomi Martin sat down for an interview with Adrian Clark to help bring some insight as to what many Americans are feeling.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Naomi. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming today and talking to
Absolutely.
me. Before we start, I just want to talk about you. So, can you talk about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a senior at Chaparral High School. I am in the school's theater department. I am a homosexual. And yeah, that's...
Okay, so you came out this year, right? Or
No, it was actually 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I came out in December of sophomore year.
Okay, and how was that process?
Actually, very, very smooth.
Okay.
My mom was the one that encouraged me to come out into the world.
That's
and
sweet.
Yeah. Just like during the musical, like we were just talking about some other people, and
Yeah.
then she was like, it's okay if
Yeah.
like that's your situation, and so like that was how it went.
Oh, okay, good. So your family supports you and your friends support you, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's all that
That's
matters. talking about the election, so here we go. Great story, but can you talk more about your opinion on it and what's important to you after Trump won? Like, what is your view on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a president, I personally don't think that he is probably like the best candidate that we could have had. And just the way that he holds himself is kind of not my style, you know.
Yeah.
And like the things that his vice president has said concerning like electroshock therapy and things like regarding conversion therapy. I never personally went through it, but I do know people that have undergone situations where their parents did believe that that was an appropriate way of dealing with their feelings. And it's very disconcerting to me to see that he is supporting that.
Yeah.
And also like praying the gay away. I tried that myself, and I know that didn't work, so.
No.
Before we head to break, I'll share the results from the state elections, and later we will discuss the issues that affect you. Let's take a quick look at the Senate race. Democrat Michael Bennet beat out Republican Darrell Glenn in the race for Senate 49.66% to 44.75%. However, even with that win, the Republicans still control the Senate. A look at the amendments that passed and failed. Amendment 69, which would have created a single-payer comprehensive healthcare system for every Colorado resident, failed. Amendment 70 passed, increasing the statewide minimum wage to $9.30 per hour starting January 1st, 2017, then raising it every year by 90 cents per hour until it reaches $12 an hour by January 1st, 2020. Amendment 71 passed, making it harder to amend the state constitution and make changes to it. Amendment 72, which would have raised taxes up to $300 million to go to organizations against tobacco, failed. Proposition 106 was passed in the state of Colorado. Proposition 106 changes Colorado statutes to allow any mentally capable adult aged 18 plus with a diagnosed terminal illness that leaves them 6 months or less to live to receive a prescription from a licensed physician that can be taken voluntarily to end their life. Proposition 107 and 108 were passed. Proposition 107 will now reestablish presidential primary elections in Colorado and opens them up to unaffiliated voters. The measure calls for the primaries to be held before the third Tuesday in March. Proposition 108 now opens up primary elections to independent voters. Amendment T failed after a very close vote, which outlawed an involuntary servitude and eliminated any form of slavery on the Colorado Constitution. Amendment U also failed, which would have placed an exemption on property tax. In the representative race, some Schaap families voted for both Mike Kaufman and Ken Buck, depending on which district they lived in. Republican Jim Smallwood won the state Senate race by 39% of the vote for District 4. Republican incumbent Kim Ransom was voted into the state representative spot for District 44. Just goes to show how many issues and candidates citizens have to vote on. After the break, we will head back to the discussion table to discuss more about these state issues and their impact.
Ice cream, yogurt, or sorbet. If you love it, we have it at Cold Stone Creamery. There's a treat for every taste, like our new rich and creamy red velvet cheesecake ice cream, our tangy tart cherry yogurt, and our bubbly pink champagne sorbet. Try one today in a creation, and be sure to add your favorite mix-ins. New ice cream, yogurt, and sorbet flavors made fresh in every store. Available for a limited time only at Cold Stone Creamery, the ultimate ice cream experience.
It's now time for the discussion table's pros and cons discussion brought to you by Cold Stone. So I'm going to list some amendments and propositions, and each of you will have to tell me what the pros and cons are of each. I want to start off the segment by asking, what is the impact of Amendment 70 that increases minimum wage from $12 to $12 by 2020, and what are the pros and cons of it being passed?
To start, the pros, it will increase minimum wage over the next 3 years, including 2017 to 2020. And that will be good for the lower class to keep up with the cost of living.
Yeah, and I also think that it does help a lot with making sure that people have money and that they're able to buy things that they need. One con you could say is that inflation could occur, but that doesn't always happen, so I wouldn't say that that's necessarily like a for sure thing.
And on the other hand, it could result in business owners having to lay off their employees because of the increasing minimum wage, which they might not be able to fund for their business.
To counter that argument, proponents cite a University of Denver study that estimates the minimum wage increase would pump $400 million into the Colorado economy and boost incomes for 20% of houses.
On the other hand of that is, in Colorado, only 3% of the working class make minimum wage according to the Federal Bureau of Labor. And so it would only impact a small number of workers in the working class.
And how might this increase affect the regular working class as opposed to the wealthy or those in poverty?
I believe that it will give some improvement to the lower class in poverty, but it will also downgrade some of the upper class who that has businesses and other entities that will have to increase their funds for wages.
But sorry. Couldn't you counteract that by saying that people now that are in poverty have more money to spend since they're making more than minimum wage, which means their cost of living goes up, and then, or like they have more money to spend, which means they spend more money on the wealthier's businesses, which would then bring money into their businesses?
That may be true, but I believe that the lower class would be spending more of their wages on necessary items such as food and labor. So I think that it would not impact those businesses as much.
And to go off your point, Scott, do you believe that an increase in the minimum wage would reduce the reliance on public assistance that some of those low-income workers require for simple survival?
I do not believe that it would have a large impact because the minimum wage currently has a good amount of cost. It keeps up with the cost of living enough, and the cost of goods could go up in the future also. So with that, it will be adjusted for inflation.
Perfect. And let's move on to Proposition 107 and 108, which would allow unaffiliated voters to participate in presidential primary elections. What are some pros and cons of this?
I think one pro is that it does allow people to get involved in politics, which is good, and it lets them have a say in who they want their presidential candidate to be. And not only that, but it does push back the primaries to March, which means that Colorado has more of a say in who the candidate is going to be, because right now, by the time we do elect a candidate, it's so late that there's really not a huge point to it.
Yes, that is true, and also the primary system is much more efficient as opposed to the caucus system, which is a little more complicated and inefficient to voters.
Let's move on to a very controversial issue in today's society, assisted suicide, which is defined as a patient diagnosed with a terminal illness who has 6 months or less to live and is deemed by a mental health professional to be of sound mind could get a prescription for life-ending drugs that could be self-administered, and 2 licensed physicians would have to confirm the diagnosis, and the patient must be informed of other treatment options. So recently this was passed in Colorado. What are the pros and cons of this?
I think one con is that it doesn't really say who these physicians are other than that they're licensed. And so by giving these people the ability to be like, yeah, it's okay if you take these drugs to end your life, that gives them so much power. And I feel like it can honestly be, for lack of better words, kind of sketchy because we don't know who these physicians are. And I feel like it would be better if these physicians had a title that they went to school for to administer those drugs.
I would agree with that. Also, the diagnosis that is given to a patient can be incorrect in some cases. So if that patient actually lives longer than 6 months, then they could end their lives sooner than they have to. Whereas if they didn't, then they could live it out for maybe longer than that 6 months of time allotted in this amendment. And I believe that as a Christian myself, I don't believe it's right to decide when somebody should go and when somebody should be kept alive just based on another human's judgment. I believe that's only up to God.
Thank you all for your time today. It's been a more than interesting and historic election season for us as a country and as a state. Thank you everyone for watching. A special thanks to our CBN advisor Jim Randall, our executive producer Kyle Potts, and the rest of the CBN crew. I am Avery Martinez, and this is Newsflash. As always, it's a great day to be an American.